Hello, good evening. You are on Sports Today, and within minutes after India named their playing 11 for the World Test Championship final versus New Zealand, we are live here on Sports Today, and here it is. You're hearing the playing 11 first on Sports Today. India, of course, remember named playing of the final squad of the 15 a couple of days back, and here is the playing 11 for the World Test Championship final. It's Virat Kohli, the captain, Rohit Sharma, Shubman Gill, open, of course, Cheteshwar Pujara, Ajinkya Rahane, Rishabh Pant in fantastic form, and India have named both their spinners in the playing 11, Ravindra Jadeja, Ashwin, and the three pacers, Mohammad Shami, Jasprit Bumrah, and Ishant Sharma. Remember, there was a lot of talk around Mohammad Siraj, who would whether he would play ahead of Ishant. A lot of experts believe that Ishant deserved to play the final, given his experience and his contribution to Indian cricket over the years. But Siraj, of course, he'd feel a little unlucky to miss out. He was spectacular in Australia. He bowled good spells against England at home. But of course, this is the best bowling lineup. This is the most experienced, and this is India's best balanced bowling lineup that they could offer for the World Test Championship final. This is looking like a very strong team. Of course, also missing out is Hanuma Vihari, who has been a regular part of the playing 11 in overseas test matches. Do not forget his contribution alongside Ashwin in that gutsy partnership in Australia in that Sydney test. So here is he's been left out. So India have clearly gone with a 3+2 bowling attack, three seamers and two spinners. I'll give you the playing 11 once again. Rohit Sharma, Shubman Gill, the openers, Cheteshwar Pujara at number 3, Virat Kohli at number 4, Ajinkya Rahane at number 5, Rishabh Pant at number 6, Jadeja and Ashwin at 7 and 8 respectively, and then the three seamers, Mohammad Shami, Ishant Sharma, and Jasprit Bumrah. Again, both Jadeja and Ashwin, we know, you don't need to talk about their the quality of spin that they bring, but also their contributions with the bat. So that is looking like a very, very good Indian lineup. They bat right up until 8 with Ashwin. And of course, they have their three most experienced seamers in Mohammad Shami, Ishant Sharma, and Jasprit Bumrah. Remember, they also had the likes of Mohammad Siraj and Umesh Yadav to choose from, but they miss out alongside Hanuma Vihari and, of course, Ridhiman Saha, the four other players who were in that final squad of 15 that India named a couple of days back. So that's the playing 11. And earlier, just a few minutes back, Virat Kohli was addressing the press, and he did say India would name their playing 11 soon enough, and they have. A lot of you are saying this is a perfect 11. Naman Sharma said perfect 11, outstanding balance. Of course, this is the hallmark. This has been the hallmark of the Indian team over the years. They've been able to really get together strong, solid teams on the park. Even in Australia, when a lot of their players, senior first choice players, were injured, Virat Kohli came back after that Adelaide Test match for the birth of his child. They still had a very, very strong, determined team out in the park to beat Australia in their own den. Well done, Virat Singh, Naman. Mriganka Saha saying it's an experienced playing 11. Absolutely. A lot of you agree that it's a good playing 11, as a Shubham Singh Purkar saying it's a good 11. Bill Gates, somebody named Bill Gates is saying Shami's, clearly speaking of Shami's inclusion in the team. But yes, you're right. This is most of you, all of you in fact, agree that this is a good, very good playing 11. So I'll come with that playing 11 again. India have named their playing 11. They're playing 11 for the World Test Championship final against New Zealand, starting on the 18th of June, Friday. That's tomorrow. Just a few hours from now, less than 24 hours from here on, India will take on New Zealand in the final of the World Test Championship. So that's Rohit Sharma, Shubman Gill, the openers, Cheteshwar Pujara at number 3, Virat Kohli number 4, Ajinkya Rahane at number 5, Rishabh Pant at number 6, and 7 and 8 for Jadeja and Ashwin. And the three pacers, Mohammad Shami, Ishant Sharma, and Jasprit Bumrah. Of course, you don't need to talk about the three pacers. They've been relentless. They've been brilliant. Ishant and Shami, two of India's most experienced pacers, as well as Jasprit Bumrah. He's been around in the circuit for the last 3 years, and he's just done remarkably well, right? So you'd expect great things from this bowling lineup. And like a lot of you have said, I'm in complete agreement. This is a very, very balanced playing 11. This is a very good team. Well done, Virat. Says Gaurav Jahan, who's just joined us. Superb selection by Virat, Ravinder Batula. A lot of you are happy with this playing 11. Rajan Singh is asking, what's your say on Hanuma Vihari? Well, little unfortunate for him because he's been such a gutsy character. He's done well for India, the limited opportunities that he's got, and you remember he's played most of his test matches outside India in trying circumstances. We all remember how he played in Sydney with an injury. He battled injury, then he had to return home. He's done his bit for the team. He's done his bit for India in the World Test Championship journey. Remember his knocks in the West Indies. Such a gutsy cricketer. He'd feel hard done by. It's unfortunate to leave out any player from that 15, right? It's that kind of a team. But then you have to look at the balance. You have to look at the fact that you're playing in England. Also, you wouldn't want to leave out your two best spinners who are also such good batsmen, right? And that's a clear indicator that India wanted to go with a deep batting lineup and they wanted to go with their best and their most experienced bowlers, the five most experienced bowlers on the park. And look at it this way: since somebody asked about Hanuma Vihari, the top five is accounted for: Rohit, Shubman, Cheteshwar Pujara, Virat Kohli, Ajinkya Rahane as the top five. Where would you have batted Hanuma Vihari? If Hanuma Vihari batted at number six, isn't it too low for Rishabh Pant in this kind of form at number seven? If Rishabh Pant is anyway batting at six, would you really want a full-fledged batsman at number seven, or would you rather have the likes of somebody like Ravindra Jadeja at number seven and R. Ashwin at number eight to bolster that batting lineup even further and give the captain more options with the ball, along with the three seamers? So I think that's a very good team. Some of you are asking about Shubman Gill. Talk about Shubman Gill. What a fine performer! What a fine youngster! What a great find for Indian cricket! Another great find for Indian cricket. He started off well in Australia in his Test career. He looked so good. He looked in very, very good touch. Then remember that half century in Chennai against England. Yes, he has to learn to settle down and play the long innings, but then he's such a young man. He will learn alongside Rohit, Sharma, Virat Kohli, Ajinkya Rahane. He has good mentors in that team. He has good men to learn to bolster his batting average in Test cricket as he goes along. And like Saurav Ganguly said on Salam Cricket on Ask Like an India Today earlier in the day, he said that Rohit Sharma and Shubman Gill will be extremely important for India in this final, as indeed in that five-test series following later on. But the focus will be on the World Test Championship final now, of course, over the next 5 days. And their contribution, the openers, Rohit and Shubman, they'll be key in England, especially. Of course, in Test cricket, you need the openers to really, really do well and pull their weight along. So this is of as good as a team as you'd get. Really, a lot of you will agree that this is a good team, and as a lot of you do agree that this is indeed a very, very balanced team. Akshat is saying Ishant will go well in this game. Yes, indeed. He's got that experience, he's got the skill set, he's got the talent, and you want not just Ishant but the likes of Jasprit Bumrah, Mohammad Shami, Jadeja and Ashwin to do well with the ball to give India a great chance in these conditions. So that's what it is looking like. This is how it's going to look like. This is Yadeshwar is saying Virat surprises for selecting the most predicted team by fans. Well, it also goes on to show that our fans on Sports Today are so knowledgeable, right? This is also a reflection of all of you fans and followers, that you are knowledgeable enough to predict the team on the same line as Virat Kohli and Ravi Shastri and the team management. That's great, actually. This is a good reflection on all of you. And remember, we also on Sports Today, we did say that it is but obvious that you'll see both Jadeja and Ashwin play. And also, a lot of you had questions on why Shardul Thakur was left out of that playing, of that final 15. Now you have the answer, like we said, because both Jadeja and Ashwin playing, you have two genuinely good all-rounders. You would have also obviously wanted three good pacers in that lineup alongside three full-fledged pacers, because this batting lineup is now looking really deep and well settled. Riganka Sahas, I'll take another one from Riganka. She's saying, Riganka is saying India has top heavy right-hand batsman only part. Pant and Jadeja coming to the line. Can that be a different threat considering the likes of Bolt and Wagner? That's a very good question, in fact, because I would say that this sort of is a good mix because you have five right-handers at the top, and then you have two left-handers right down at number 6 and number 7. Especially if these guys are coming in when New Zealand are due the second new ball. That is going to be a challenge for New Zealand and the New Zealand Pacers. Of course, it's a very, very good New Zealand team that India is taking on, and they wouldn't want to be complacent at all. And Virat Kohli's team has never been complacent, have they? So this is a good mix, and that's a good point, right, Meganka? It's a very, very good team. A lot of you would agree, and It's looking like a full-fledged team. Well, then that's a lot of questions. Uh, in fact, I'm trying to take as many as possible. A lot of you are asking. Pranav is asking about Hanuma. Hanuma missing? Yes, indeed, he is missing. Like I said, where would you have played Hanuma in this lineup? Given that the top six from Rohit, Shubman, Pujara, Kohli, Rahane, and Pant select themselves, then you had to go with five bowlers. 3+2 is the combination India chose, and of course they're blessed with the fact that the two spinners are such fine batsmen as well, very very reliable and in good nick as well. So that's unfortunate for Hanuma Vihari, but that's the way things go. This is how it pans out. Um, New ball, Shami or Ishan. Well, it does look like India will start with just with Bumrah and Mohammad Shami. Well, we'll have to wait and watch uh, how India go, look what the conditions are, whether it's overcast or who wins the toss, who decides to bowl first or bat first, depending on what really transpires. So that's something we'll have to wait and watch. Those are very, very tactical questions that only the captain and the coach will be able to answer on that day, and you'll probably be able to look at what how it shapes up once the test match is underway. Kishore Chaudhary, we definitely miss Bhuvneshwar Kumar in the World Test Championship final. Well, that's the beauty of this Indian lineup. Again, you're talking about that, the fact that it's got such a great bench strength. But I think Kishore, as everybody is suggesting, it's looking like it's a very very good playing 11. It's an excellent playing 11 that India are putting out on the park against a strong New Zealand team. Now, remember, New Zealand have won their Test series. They played a two-Test series against England days before. They won that Test series. They won the second Test match. So New Zealand will also be high in confidence. India will be happy with their practice sessions. They played that intra squad match, so that'll be they'll be pretty pleased with that as well. That they seem pretty pleased with their preparation. And this Indian team doesn't make excuses. They've not for a moment said you will not have enough match time. We do not have enough time in England. We were quarantined in Bombay and Southampton. So that's the best thing about this Indian team is that they do not make excuses. So that's the playing 11. Before I also go to Virat Kohli and what he said at the press conference, I want to rewind the playing 11 for some of you who joined late. It's Rohit Sharma and Shubman Gill, the openers. Cheteshwar Pujara at number 3, Virat Kohli the captain at number 4, Rahane 5, Rishabh Pant number 6, Ravindra Jadeja, R. Ashwin, Mohammad Shami, Ishant Sharma, and Jasprit Bumrah. That's the playing 11 for India for the World Test Championship final against New Zealand. So that's indeed a very strong and a very, very well balanced team. Now then, what did Virat Kohli say at the press conference? He sounded upbeat, he sounded calm and cool, collected as usual, very confident. Remember, India's World Test Championship journey has been incredible. They won in the West Indies, they defeated South Africa and Bangladesh at home, um, and then they went on to beat Australia in Australia with an understrength team, with most of their seniors injured. With their missing some, they were missing some of their key players, especially at the Gabba, Australia's fortress, really, where they're so confident of doing well all the time. That's where India stunned Australia at the Gabba to win the Test series 2-1, and then they came back to England. Beg your pardon, they came back to India after that series in Australia, lost the first Test match to England thanks to heroics from Joe Root for the Englishman. But boy, did India bounce back in the remaining three Test matches to win the series 3-1. So India have been in incredible form. But the only time they lost a series in this World Test Championship journey was against New Zealand in New Zealand, where they lost the series 2-0. But Virat Kohli, when he was asked about that series defeat at the press conference, wasn't perturbed at all. He said, "This is not ODI or T20s. This is Test cricket, and it requires hard grind for 5 days for which the Indian team is ready." And he also said, "We understand we have played what we have played to get here, and we're looking forward to playing the Test match." And Virat Kohli is right because India have just been superbly brilliant throughout their campaign in the World Test Championship. There was the other facet. So that was one. There were two or three important aspects that Virat Kohli spoke about at the press conference. One was that defeat in New Zealand. The other is his friendship with Kane Williamson. It's It's a very well-known, established fact that both Virat Kohli and Kane Williamson are good friends off the field. They played under 19 cricket together for the respective countries. They've known each other since then, and they have a lot of respect for each other. He was asked about his friendship with Kane Williamson. He said, we've become friends over the last few years, but when you step across the line, you want to get him out as soon as possible. The camaraderie is off the field, but on it, we are professionals. Of course, Kane Williamson is the best batsman in New Zealand, and he's one of the best in the world. You compare the likes of Joe Root, Virat Kohli, Kane Williamson, Steve Smith. Especially in Test cricket, he's just phenomenal, isn't he, Kane Williamson? So those are some of the facts and aspects that Virat Kohli addressed at the press conference. Also, the pressure of the World Test Championship final. Virat Kohli said for him is just another match that has to be played. It's very exciting for people on the outside, but as a team, Virat Kohli said we'd want to continue with our quest for excellence, and we want to do what they do best. Of course, remember India's journey in ICC finals for the last several years. 2007, the first final of the T20 World Cup, the World T20 as it was called, and India won. Then under MS Dhoni, that was under MS Dhoni. Then MS Dhoni led India to a victory in the 2011 World Cup. Then the 2013 Champions Trophy. And they also reached the final of the 2014 World Cup, World T20, which they lost to Sri Lanka. And of course, their most recent final was the 2017 Champions Trophy, which they also lost. So they were that's been India's journey in ICC finals. Of course, India could not qualify for the final of the 2019 World Cup. They lost to New Zealand, remember, in rain-affected semi-final. And here is another chance for India to win an ICC tournament. And of course, New Zealand, who went through to the final of the 2019 World Cup, that they had a heartbreaking result against England in the final. So Virat Kohli spoke about the time when he won the 2011 World Cup under MS Dhoni. He said, we won the 2011 World Cup, but life goes on. It went on as usual. The occasion has to be treated in the same way. The mindset remains the same. For us, it is a contest between bat and ball. And this is what Virat Kohli and Ravi Shastri are so good at doing. They're very calm characters they're very sorted characters when it comes to calming the nerves of the team around them. So that's something that Virat Kohli would want to do with a few of his teammates who are playing an ICC final for the very first time. So there you have it, India. Virat Kohli also is very confident of the brand of cricket that he wants his team to play. He said, for us, we are playing against a team that is a solid opponent. Off the field, we get along well. Off the field, we are professional and we know what we need to do. So that's the gist of Virat Kohli's press conference. The other aspect that he spoke about was rain. There was some forecast for a heavy shower on the first day. There is, it's England. You'd expect some rain along the way. Virat Kohli said, we are not bothered by what the weather holds. We are not going to change anything. We have our plans in place. And there you have it. With minutes after the press conference, India announced the playing 11, and seconds after that, I was live on Sports Today to give you the lowdown of the final 11 that India going in with against New Zealand in the World Test Championship final. Virat Kohli, by the way, also spoke about India's qualification for the World Test Championship final. He said, and I quote, it wasn't supposed to be a topsy-turvy ride. In our minds, we had qualified before things became complicated. The situation allowed us to be more hungry and use that as motivation. Remember, last year, the World Test Championship final, like a lot of other tournaments, was impacted by the COVID pandemic. Both series had to be postponed, rescheduled, and a lot of factors came into play. There was a change in the point system, there was a change in the rule, but India still, they were just easily the best team in the World Test Championship final, and they went on to qualify. India skipper Virat Kohli also spoke about the one-off final. So there was there was a school of thought which said maybe it should have been a best of three final. Virat Kohli said the one-off test. He weighed in on the one-off final test match. He said the one-off test match is not going to reflect the truth, but the reality is that what we've done over the last 4 or 5 years, we are focusing on our processes. So that's the gist of Virat Kohli's press conference, mostly about what he spoke. And then minutes after that, after the press conference, India announced their playing 11. Well, I'll also take you through to what the New Zealand captain Kane Williamson said at his press conference. Remember, there was some injury concern around Kane Williamson. He missed out the second Test match, but much to the relief of New Zealand fans, he was named in the final 15, of course. And he said everybody is fit in the squad, and he had an elbow issue. And he said my elbow has improved now thanks to the injection a few days back. And he said we haven't finalized the squad, the final 11 yet, but they will do that in a bit, and I'm sure we will do get some insight into that as well. Then there he's spoken about uh, the fact that it is exciting. This World Test Championship was exciting is exciting for New Zealand because it is a one-off Test match being played at a neutral venue. So there are challenges for both teams that we did want to address and get the better of each other. They're very proud teams, very proud captains, very proud players. They want to do their countries proud once action for the World Test Championship final gets underway on Friday. New Zealand are currently the number one Test team, but Kane Williamson kind of played down the ranking and said the rankings keep changing. But we know the challenge is very, very strong against this Indian team. Here are a number of areas of competition. We know how strong the seam bowling attack is, the spinners, and the batting is world class. Similar for us too. It is exciting to be involved in this WTC final, the World Test Championship final. So that's both captains being very optimistically cautious in their words. Virat Kohli wanting to stick to his own processes, not looking at the hullabaloo around the World Test Championship final, wants to get his team into a cocoon and focus on the job at hand. Sometimes it could be counterproductive to be swayed in with the excitement of a historic event. This is the first time, this is the first World Test Championship final ever. So plenty at stake, a lot of pride at stake, plenty at stake. Um, Williamson also wanted to focus on playing positive cricket and getting a result. He said, I think both teams have their own style and brand of cricket that they're committed to. There is a chance we will get a good 5 days of cricket, and that's what we hope from these two world-class teams. That at the end of the World Test Championship journey, these two teams have shown that they are the best. In fact, New Zealand, remember in their World Test Championship journey, they won just one out of their first 5 Test matches. They faced a 3-0 drubbing in Australia before winning 3 successive Test series at home of two matches each. They won those at home, and they were in the World Test Championship final. Of course, India, you could say that they had a they had a trickier path to the WTC final. They had more challenges when you look at the fact that they had to beat Australia in Australia and then come back and get the better of England after being 1-0 down. So that was quite a journey for both teams, especially for India. You'd have to give credit to the way Virat Kohli has led India. Ajinkya Rahane, his leadership also in Australia, and the way the bowlers have contributed, the way the batsmen have contributed, the way Rishabh Pant has come up, especially since that Test series in Australia, has just been brilliant to watch. And of course, Shubman Gill as well. He made his mark in Australia, and that's why a lot of you are asking questions about Shubman Gill. That's why he's been in such focus. So that's the playing 11. Again, before I wrap up, this is what the playing 11 is looking like for the Indian team. India's playing 11 for the World Test Championship final against New Zealand starting Friday. Here it is again for one final time. I'll give you a lowdown. Rohit Sharma, Shubman Gill, the openers, Cheteshwar Pujara at number 3, Virat Kohli at number 4, the captain, Ajinkya Rahane, Rishabh Pant, Ravindra Jadeja, R. Ashwin, Mohammad Shami, Ishant Sharma, and Jasprit Bumrah. So Mohammad Siraj, Umesh Yadav, Hanuma Vihari, and Ridhman Saha, the 4 players to miss out. So that's the final 11, and that is the 11 on predicted lines. That's what a lot of you are saying, that your playing 11 matched with what Virat Kohli, Virat Kohli and Ravi Shastri selected, and that's also a reflection of your cricket knowledge. Once Sindhu Paramesh is saying, once both teams get on the field, they are both equal. Absolutely, they are equal, and that's the thing about these two teams. They are very, very good teams. New Zealand will, of course, take confidence from that Test series win over England, but they know that this Indian team is far more superior and far more balanced. Upendra Singh Chauhan, so great fan of an analysis. Tell about Rohit Sharma, why everyone is neglecting him. He will come very strong tomorrow, then everyone will realize what he's capable of. Bhupendra, thank you for your compliments, but I don't think if anybody is underestimating Rohit Sharma. He's a fine player. He's a fine player across formats. In fact, for years, when he could not establish a permanent place in that Test 11, a lot of us were very, very surprised because Rohit Sharma is such a talent. He's such a hard-working cricketer. He's so determined to do well. But it's great to see that Rohit Sharma is now a very, very important cog in that wheel. He played a couple of important innings in Australia, and then again England against England at home. He was clearly the best batsman. You also have to give him credit for that fine 100. He scored that mammoth daddy 100 against England in Chennai on a very, very difficult pitch to bat on. So that's Rohit Sharma's class. Bhupinder, I don't think anybody is underestimating. I mean, nobody would underestimate Rohit Sharma in any format, whether it's one-day cricket, T20s, or Test cricket, where he's now a permanent member of that Indian 11. Rohit Sharma is just a world-class batsman, class apart. Rohit Sharma, Virat Kohli, Cheteshwar Pujara, Rahane, Rishabh Pant. It's just India just lucky to have all of them together playing for India in this really, really crucial Test match. Mortal is saying a big mistake by Team India. They should have played Siraj. Big blunder. He's young, dedicated, fast bowler. What he did recently in Australia. How can they forget? Blunder for Team India. Mortal, well, again, emotions understandable for Mohammad Siraj. He did really well in Australia. Absolutely agree with you. But again, Ishant Sharma, right? He's the most experienced bowler in this lineup. He's done well. I mean, Ishant Sharma, when you go into a final of this sort, you'd want to look for experience, and Ishant Sharma's experience. He's fully fit. He bowled well in the intra-squad matches. He's obviously India would be looking to Ishant to lead that pace attack. He's world class too, isn't he? And Mohammad Siraj will get his chance. He's very young. He'll of course be one of the top priorities in that pace department for Indian cricket for years to come. I'm sure Mohammad Siraj will have a say in a lot of important matches and a lot of important tournaments for India. But probably he'll have to wait a little because Ishant Sharma has been around for so many years. He's been such a dedicated workhorse for Indian cricket, and he's bowled in difficult conditions. He's been the go-to man for Mahendra Singh Dhoni, Virat Kohli. He's just a superstar, Ishant Sharma. So you would have expected him to play in that World Test Championship final. But I take your point. Siraj, probably Siraj fans, Siraj himself would be a little gutted not getting to play the final, but he will have his chance soon enough. Well then, Guthar Jahan is saying Indian team fought to reach this position. Absolutely, they fought really hard, and they deserve to be in this position from where they can possibly lift the first ever World Test Championship trophy. Well, a lot of Ayush has asked about Bhuvneshwar Kumar. We've addressed that. A lot of you have questions on Shubman Gill. We've addressed that. Um, that's well. I think still think Siraj. John Bright still thinks Siraj could have replaced Shami. No, Shami is a great bowler, but Siraj could be a huge difference. The thing with Siraj is, you look at the three fast bowlers here. Like if you agree, the two spinners were again definite go. Jadeja and Ashwin batting at number 7 and number 8. Wicket takers, if the pitch dries up, they'll offer a lot of they'll offer options. With Mohammad Shami, he's been terrific. If you look at his average, if I think in 18 innings he's picked up 36 wickets or thereabout. He's picked up wickets regularly. He's picked them at a great strike rate. So that's he's made a massive contribution to India in this World Test Championship journey. He's been brilliant again alongside Ishant Sharma and Jasprit Bumrah. Mohammad Siraj was brilliant. He has a superb, sensational start to his career in Australia. He was impressive against England at home, and he will get his chances. He will get many, many more opportunities. He's young. Mohammad Siraj is young and fit. But when you go into the World Test Championship final, Shami, Ishant, Bumrah, India's three most experienced pacers, three most successful pacers in recent years, you'd back them. Shami is not fit, is saying broken skull. No, Shami is completely fit. There are no fitness concerns in this Indian team for either the fast bowlers, the spinners, or the batsmen. Everybody is fit. Well, I'll take this one. Siraj is a must for Test, better than Ishant Sharma, no doubt. Well, DJ 90 Zipop, that's your opinion. I respect that. A lot of you. I mean, that was the debate right before the team was announced. Ishant versus Siraj was the was the debate heading into this test match, and that's what we said on Sports Today. That's what I said on Sports Today, that it could be an eventual decision between Ishant and Siraj, and I can understand a lot of you have emotions going into the playing 11. Well, there's a lot of debate. Siraj has a sharpened dipper, as Akil is saying. Um, John Bright is saying we want India to win, but India has recently never won against New Zealand in ICC Trophy. 2019 World Cup semi-final, 2015 World Cup group match, 2016 T20 World Cup, and also recently against New Zealand. New Zealand. Yes, John. Well, India haven't had a great record against New Zealand in ICC events in the past, but that's all in the past. Different formats also, remember. But both India and New Zealand would not look at those records in the past. It's a new day, it's a new format, new venue, new trophy at stake. So they will want to move on from history, whether they've done well or not done so well in the past against each other. That's something that both teams would want to put in the past. Well, good playing 11. All of you would agree. Before I go, I'll give you the playing 11 once again. That's Rohit Sharma, Shubman Gill, the openers, Cheteshwar Pujara at number 3, Virat Kohli, the captain, at number 4, Ajinkya Rahane at number 5, Rishabh Pant at 6, Ravindra Jadeja at 7, R. Ashwin at number 8, and then the three pacers, Mohammad Shami, Ishant Sharma, and Jasprit Bumrah. Lot of opinions, debate on whether Mohammad Siraj should have played ahead of Ishant, whether India have made a mistake. Well, I don't think so. I think India have gone in with their best bowling lineup, with their most experienced bowling lineup. Not a reflection on Mohammad Siraj at all. The Indian team thinks very highly of Mohammad Siraj, and he will have a lot of say in a lot of tournaments and a lot of matches over the years, from for many years from now on. So that's the playing 11. That's what Virat Kohli have also told you. What Virat Kohli said at the press conference. What Kane Williamson said at the press conference. And we are all looking forward to an enthralling 5 days of Test cricket. The World Test Championship final between India and New Zealand. And of course, on Sports Today, you'll be able to get a lowdown of the WTC final, and then the India women's Test match against England, and of course, also the European Championship, for which I'll be back very shortly, though, to give you a rundown of the remaining two games tonight. But thank you so much, and I'll of course come back to you very soon. Please do subscribe to Sports Today. Spread the word. We are here to give you sport. We are here to cover sports for you as intensely as possible and as passionately as possible. We are as passionate for sports as you are, and this is your channel. This is why we are working so hard. So please do subscribe to the channel and help us. And really, we look forward to your support. Thank you.